Coach Crystal. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. So happy to have you. I absolutely adore both your daughters, especially this one right here.
Stop.
She has a special place, you know what I mean, in interviews department.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Yes, so happy to have you in. How about we start off by talking about your high school career in running?
Sure.
Yeah.
I started at a really young age running. It was just part of our family. It's kind of, the girls kind of fell into it that way as well.
Yeah.
My mom was a runner. My dad was a runner. I just kind of knew that was what I was going to do. That's how I was going to pay for school, the whole 9 yards. So I continued to run through high school, and I started to look out for colleges, and I ended up settling on the University of Alabama. So,
Oh, wow. So did you run collegiate for Alabama?
that was the plan.
Yeah.
That was the plan. My senior year, unfortunately, I got into a serious car accident. I was actually going to practice, and I got hit head on, and I collapsed both my lungs. I fractured my vertebrae all in my lower back. Punctured my heart and broke a rib. So it was
my gosh.
not, after that, it wasn't exactly in the cards. They actually told me that I would might not walk again. And when I was in the hospital, I was on a lot of fun stuff because I was pain medicine. My mother said that I looked at the doctor and I just said, "Watch me." So I came back and I started to train really hard and walk, but I just never could get back up to the exact speeds for Alabama again. But that was okay. I had already decided to go there. I'm originally from Florida, so I was out of state.
Oh my gosh, I'm from
yeah.
Florida too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What part?
Like Pensacola, Gulf
Oh,
Breeze
very
area.
cool. Yeah, very cool. I'm from a little outside Tampa, Brandon, Florida.
Okay, yeah. That's cool.
So when that happened, I didn't want to not go to Alabama. I had already decided that. And so I had to find another way to pay for school. And that's how I kind of fell into ROTC and the Army.
So you were in ROTC in college. Like, do you have any cool stories from that?
I have tons. ROTC was something that was a great time, but it is a little bit, at least, difficult. I was one of the very few females in ROTC. So I got the opportunity to do a lot of traveling. I got the opportunity to go to airborne school, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Jumping out of planes is basically what I did.
Skydiving.
But I was very small.
On the daily.
Like I was because of all the running in the year. And you have to keep in mind, one of the things that I think is wonderful about female sports now is that they really try to get you guys like in the weight room and try to get you strong. But when I was a competitor, the smaller the better. Like the smaller you were, the faster you were. I didn't even break 100 pounds until I was like a sophomore in college.
Oh my gosh.
I was just constantly training, and that's just kind of how it went. So when I went to the Army, you had to be over 100 pounds to jump out of the planes. So I like put stuff in my pocket when we weighed in, so I could make the weight. And unfortunately, that probably wasn't the best idea. When I jumped out of the plane on my first jump, I was so light that I fell back and like hit the side of the plane.
Oh my gosh.
And went down that way, and I was like seeing stars all the way down.
Oh my gosh.
I had an instance where I was coming down and a guy, but because I was small, it helped, but he went the risers are what is above you, and he went through my risers and he hit my face with his helmet. And when I hit the ground, I like ripped off my suit, and I was like running toward him to like just talk to him nicely. And my sergeants caught me midair, and I was like in the air, just flaring around. And because I was a small, I was definitely quite the pistol to be in
Tiny
ROTC.
but mighty.
Tiny but mighty, yeah. I also got the opportunity to be on the SEC Ranger Challenge teams, which is basically an Army decathlon. It's got shooting, road marching, things like that. And I was the top female in the SEC 3 years in a row. So that was really cool. So even though I didn't get the opportunity to run, and that is my true love, I did get to compete competitively, which was really great.
That's amazing. And then like you also met my dad through.
I did.
You want to share that story?
I was on the rifle team, and I was the only female on the rifle team. And I went up to shoot. I was like setting up my equipment and getting my gun ready and everything. And it was my first day, and he was the captain of the team. And he was a really good shot. He still is. He's an amazing shot. He came up behind me and he was like, let me help you. And he's like adjusting my hips and everything. And I hear like the guys giggling. And so I turned around and I was like, you need to get away from me right this instant. Oh my God. And that was the first words I ever said to my future husband. I mean, he was signed, sealed, and delivered at that point, he felt like. So
that's hilarious. It's like straight out of a rom-com.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like the one girl that actually doesn't want me, I want her.
Yes, exactly.
Enemies to lovers.
So it gave me a lot of opportunity to just continue something that I love just in a different way.
Yeah.
And of course, and it helped pay for school.
Yes.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
And then like you obviously couldn't run in college. So how did you find your other career, like pathway into sports broadcasting?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
Since actually, like I was in third grade, and I had an amazing. It's funny that it was how teachers can make such a big impact, but it was my third grade teacher who pushed me to write, and we had a program like this in my high school. We had to do a morning show, live morning show, across the school every morning. So you do directors and your broadcast, your producers and your on-air talent and things like that, and we had to. That was our morning announcements, and we had to put on a 5-minute show every, and we had the cute, like you guys do with your mini mics, which are so cute. We had little things like that we had to do. So I always knew that's what I wanted to do. That's what I majored in college, and I minored in debate. So that's always fun with my kids trying to argue with me.
Like little do you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm a minor in this.
So I got to do that in college. It was a lot of fun. I got to work with the sports program there. I got to go to all of the football, basketball, gymnastics. Those were my 3 beats, and I got to do a lot of interviews. I also worked with Alabama Public Television. I was on a show. Called Integrated Science. I was one of the hosts. I did not know anything. Science is like my worst subject, but I would like study the big words and like figure it out so I looked like I knew what I was doing. I was teaching kids across America because it was on public television, but okay. So I already knew that that's what I wanted to do. But unfortunately, when I got out of college, there was a huge hiring freeze at the time. And so I had to find a different path for a while. And I worked at a local station, and then I wasn't having any upward movement. So I decided that I would do something else on the side, and I started coaching at a local high school. And I didn't think anything would give me that kind of love that broadcasting always did. But I loved it just so much that I stayed with it. And then that's how I did high school for a year, and then went over to college coaching from there.
Yeah, I remember because you taught like sprinters. So I remember they were it was really funny because you were so tall, or you were so short and they were so tall. And when you had to coach them, you had to look like straight up at them.
I have a great picture. My mom turned it into like a poster, and I'm standing there with my athlete, and I'm looking up, and I'm just got my finger, and it's like she put this like great inspirational quote under it. It's like great, but I'm actually saying a lot of choice words to him at that moment because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. But it looks great. So
hey, but like falling back to like calling your athletes out, what's kind of like your coaching guidelines like?
Okay, so the coaching guidelines, one of the things that I learned when I got in my accident, I learned that you cannot ever take moments for granted. Yeah. Because they change. They constantly change. And you can't sit in that what if. Like, what if I had rode to practice with someone else? What if I had taken a left instead of a right? And if you sit in that what if, then you get stuck and you don't move forward. And I think that's super important in athletics, that you have to be able to take that moment every time you step on the track, every time you step on the field, whatever it is, you have to take advantage of it. And you also can't, like, if you had a bad game, you had a bad race, whatever it is, you can't sit there and dwell on it. You can learn from it, but dwelling on it isn't going to do you any good. And you have to understand that every opportunity is a unique opportunity. You'll never get that opportunity again. You may get different options or different perspectives of that opportunity, but that opportunity will never happen again. So you have to every day take advantage and realize that when you're training, or that someone else is probably training harder, or someone, and if you're taking a day off, they're probably not. So, I mean, yes, you do need rest days. I don't want to say that. Please don't think that you have to train 24/7. But you do have to realize that every time you step on the track, whether it's a tiny meet or this giant like state, it gives you that opportunity to push forward and make the best of that day, and that's only going to help you in the future. So
yeah, then following on what you're saying is like taking every single moment, you know what I mean, like almost having like a goldfish mindset is what my dad always tells me.
I love that quote. Yes. I love that quote.
I'm telling you, I'm told that all of the time. Like you gotta have the mind of a goldfish.
Yes, exactly.
But what would you say like your attitude towards like mentality versus like actual like physicality is? Because I know I talked to you about you mentioned that your mom said that it's like you think it's more important to have a stronger mentality than you actually do like a
I do. I think that everyone, like, I can take a talented kid, like you can have a kid who's super talented, and talented is going to make you good. Like talent will make you good. But it is what you do with that talent and how you apply it that's going to make you great. And so if you have a strong mental, it can go from the marathon to the 100 meters, you have to mentally be ready to attack every situation. Because if you don't have a mental mindset that this is my race, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, then someone else is, and they're going to take it from you. Talent's only going to get you so far. Definitely.
No, I agree. Sometimes it's like stepping out onto the soccer field or whatever, you can feel the energy of the other team versus your team. And it's almost like you can be mentally defeated before the race even starts. So it's like, how do you work to like instill like preventative measures for those in your athletes going to approach those races?
Well, I think that you just have to believe in that they're going to do it, because sometimes athletes need a little help in that department. Like you guys have a lot going on. I mean, people forget that when you're a student athlete, it's not just what's going on at practice. You've got everything from schoolwork to school drama, whatever it is, all that stuff plays into it. So sometimes it's up to the coach to believe in that athlete more than they believe in themselves until they can match you, until they can get there. And I always tell my athletes, like, as soon as you step through the gate at the track, I need you to leave it all at the gate. Like, when we're here, we're here. And I think that that's really important for them. And if you believe in them enough, the hope is that they will believe in themselves.
So you're almost setting that, what is it? It's like, however high the leader is where like the other person's going to stop.
Exactly.
So it's like, you got to make sure you're stepping your level up.
Exactly. And there's times where, I mean, I'm not known for being, I'm definitely known for caring about the athletes, but I am not like, oh, it's okay. I am definitely in your face. I mean, you've got some kids in here that are my athletes, and they can probably tell you some wonderful stories that I will definitely tell them how it is, because I think that's also important. Like you don't always need to hear that you're the greatest. You need to hear, what can I do to be better?
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, what would you say the biggest like switch was from coaching collegiate to like coaching high school?
Well, it's okay. So I did college. I've done everything from D1. I've coached D1. I've coached down to D3.
Yes, ma'am.
And I really love the fact that when a college athlete's there, you know that they want to be there because they're there, or they're usually on scholarship. And so you do have that, where sometimes in high school athletics, you have people that are doing it because someone made them do it, or they're not super excited about being there. But I love the learning aspect at the high school level. Like, it's able to take these like tiny little spark and make it into a bonfire. Like give them that and give them their future, because it's not just about what they're doing on the track. It's also what they're going to take from the track and put into their real life. So I really do love that. Now, it is not as fun because I can't yell at them and say, listen, do it or I'm going to take your scholarship away. I can't do that. But it is, you know, that's harder.
I'd like to see a day on the track with Coach Crystal now.
But it definitely makes a big difference as far as a high school athlete, because you get to be there at the beginning, and that's exciting at any aspect.
Yeah, and it's definitely about coaching, because I remember my 6th grade year, I swore at a banquet that I was never going to run again. Like in front of everyone, I swear I was never going to run again. And then it was definitely like the coaching and like the mindset of like, you just got to keep going. Like she kept telling me like, let's try one more year. Like, and like this year I was like, I don't want to run. And she was like, let's try the high school experience. And now I want to do it all 4 years. Cause like, it was just like that mindset of like, you have to come back. Like you have to be able to push through that like hard time and come back.
And I think that your teammates are also super important, and you have to have that mindset too, that you are also not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for them as well. And I think that helps. It helps, like when you have an athlete that is not sure, that wants to come back, remind them that they're not there just for themselves. They're also there for the rest of the team. Yeah. And that helps. And Oak Mountain has an amazing staff here, as far as we'll look at all their sports, but I just can definitely talk to the track and field coaches that they really pour into their athletes, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and too, I think it's so important that you have like a parent or an adult in your life that is willing to call you out on stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like, so many kids have so much that they can accomplish. They just don't have the support system, like or the willingness of someone to be like, no, like you're doing this again. You know what I mean? Like you have a true calling for that. You have like a passion for that. Like let's give it another year.
Yeah. Speaking from firsthand experience, it's really important to have someone to push you like, no, you're doing that again.
Exactly. So how does that kind of translate into your parenting? I'm very curious. This wasn't even on the question sheet. I was just like,
We try to separate it. You know, when I'm out there, I have to treat them, you know, I try to treat them as much as possible as other athletes. And sometimes I'm a little harder on them, I'll be honest, I am, because I know what they can accomplish. Like with Katarina and Annabelle, they do sometimes get a little harder than anyone else, where I'm more likely to be like, it's okay to someone else than I am to them. But when we step off the track and when we go home, it is a major part of our life. Obviously, they grew up at the track. I mean, I was big and pregnant coaching. I'll never forget, I was at the Vanderbilt meet, and I was pregnant with Katarina, and I was like running across, and my athletes were like, Coach, this kid's gonna come out giving splits, like you need to stop. Like so it's always been a part of their life, but we do try to step back and talk about other things and push them to do other things, like media, like SGA, things like that, so they have something else in their life. Plus it's always fun because my husband was not a track athlete. He was not anything close to that, but he did.
Like they got all the talent from me.
He was an amazing football and baseball player. He did that in college, and so it's really fun for us to kind of like hear some of the stuff that he says, and we're like, no, that's not possible. He's like, just push them out of your way. We cannot do that. Like that's not part of it.
You can't just push them down on the track. So, that's not something you can do.
Yes, so that keeps us humble in our house and household as far as parenting goes.
Got a
but
good balance.
But I am definitely a parent that tries to give them as much, I don't want to say freedom, but just gives them the opportunities to make decisions on their own, like whether they're going to run in college, whether they're not. It's their life, it's their decision. I only have them for a short time, unfortunately, and then they have to be ready to get out in the world and make these decisions on their own. So yeah.
Well, you've raised some stellar girls, I can tell you that right now.
Stop.
This little one's a boss lady over here. She came in for her interview all dressed up for SGA yesterday. I was like, dang, girl, okay.
You never know what's going to come out of Annabelle's mouth, that's for sure.
She'll tell you straight up.
Yes, she is. And she's very quick-witted, and sometimes to the point where people don't catch it, and I'm just like, oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of them both.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I love that they're allowing me to be part of this opportunity at Oak Mountain, because they could easily say, Mom, this is embarrassing. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
Go home, please.
Like, please don't do this anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
definitely like Katarina mentioned earlier. It's like at one of our earlier interviews with Katarina, she mentioned that's like our track life and like our home life, you're very good at keeping it separate. Like the second we leave track, it's like, of course it's a little bit about track, but like it's different. It's two different lives basically. And I think that's like really important to do. Like really important to have the two separate.
Yes, for sure.
That's crazy having the ability to separate that though, because sometimes I feel like I do a bad job of like, well, one thing that my dad's talking to me about working on, right, is like compartmentalizing everything. So it's like I have soccer, I have school, and I have media, and those are all separate categories. You know what I mean? But I had to do a really bad job of letting them bleed into each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that
so
makes
it's
sense.
like stopping the bleed. Like, what do you like? Like how? Like, I guess what is your like perspective on like keeping it one thing and the next thing, one thing at a time? Yeah.
I think that honestly, I don't think you can completely keep them separate.
Yeah.
I just think you have to be able to handle the fact that they probably will bleed, because it is, you're right. These are three different things, but those three different things make up you.
Yeah.
So you should never shut one out at all, at least in my opinion. I think that you have to be able to, but you also have to realize that they all have their own identity as well. So taking it like, okay, I am at media and trying to make that do the best, taking that opportunity and pull it to the fullest at that moment. But what you do in soccer and your leadership that you have in soccer and all those things in school is always going to affect it. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You just have to be able to take a breath sometimes and realize that it can be a lot. It can, and for students and just getting ready, you guys have to just take that breath in. And I think as long as you can take that opportunity to maybe take a step back from all of it and say, okay, I need a moment, I think that you'll be okay letting them bleed a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would your biggest piece of advice be for someone that's like stuck in that, like, what if something happened? Like, what would your biggest piece of advice be for someone to get out of that zone?
That's a good question. I think that if you get stuck in the what if, you have to, one of the things that I would recommend is writing down everything, the worst possible case. Like, go ahead, take that paper, write down, what is the worst thing, if I made this decision or if I had done this, what was the worst thing that could have happened? Or what could have happened, whatever it is. And then take that paper and crumble it up and throw it away, because it's not going to do you any good. Like, once you've gotten it all out of your system, I think a lot of times we try to push things down too much. So if you could just take that, and if I, and I did, I like, because I was supposed to ride with a different friend that day. The guy that was driving took a different route that I would have taken if I was driving. Like, these were all little things that if it would have happened, I wouldn't have been driving down that road and that guy wouldn't have hit his head on. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been able to join. I wouldn't have the experience I had with ROTC. I might not have met your dad. These are all things that happen. They happen. I know you hear that so much, and it's probably overplayed, like it happens for a reason or whatever. But it does, and you do have to learn from it. But sometimes you just have to get it out.
Yeah.
Like you just have to write it all out and do what you got to do, and then toss it and move on to get unstuck.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. So much good advice.
So much good advice.
Good stories. Oh my gosh.